Last week, we learned that no matter what version of the Lord's Prayer we say, Jesus wanted to teach us that the main focus of the prayer is about forgiveness. Like today, debt was a very serious problem for early Christians. Debt is something that you owe, usually money to someone else. When someone is in debt, people can lose their home, their livelihoods, and even their reputation. In Matthew's Gospel, the words debt and sin are often used to mean the same thing. Sin occurs when we, or the groups or systems that we belong, do something that negatively impacts relationships, and those actions can break the connection between others and to God. When Jesus taught his disciples to pray to forgive our debts and forgive our debtors, he was calling for a world where people weren't divided by sin, and we all cared about everyone. We learned from the parable of the prodigal son that forgiveness is all about restoration. And restoration heals, and it puts us in harmony and in a good relationship with others and with God. And it reminds us that each one of us is made in God's image, and God said that we're very good. We learned that we belong with each other and to God, and we owe one another our commitment in making each other's lives better so that we can flourish, because relationship and connection are more valuable than money. Up next, praying when it's difficult. The end of the Lord's Prayer points to the temptations and difficult times we will face in our lives. During these difficult times, it may seem like a test to keep faith in God, to believe that everything is going to be okay and God is still the most powerful. The Jewish people in the Old Testament heard about people's faith being tested through the Hebrew Scriptures. In the New Testament, even Jesus himself was tempted at the very beginning of his ministry. In this story, Jesus is tempted by Satan. Being tempted is to feel the desire to make a choice you know you shouldn't make. Satan is also sometimes called the accuser rather than the devil. And an accuser is referred to as an enemy or an opponent, or a force that tries to make a person go against what they believe is right and just, even to do violence to test their worthiness. Violence is an action that hurts and damages the life of something or someone else. Jesus taught his followers to pray, "Lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil." We can think of this as a way we're asking God to keep us away from temptation and participating in violence that harms the life of something or someone. Many times we are tempted to use power in a way that does violence. We see this when Jesus is in the desert. Satan, or the accuser, tries to get Jesus to use his power selfishly, to think of himself and use his power to his benefit. God's way of using power is using power for the good of everyone, rather than what's good for us. When we ask God to lead us not into temptation, this is a way we're asking for God to help us to use our power in God's way, with love, fairness, and compassion. When we face temptation to do violence or selfishly use our power, we have a chance to grow. Like Jesus in the desert, we can put our trust in God and to put his desire for the world first. We can do this by changing a personal decision, like not using hurtful words or not yelling at a sibling or hitting someone when they do something hurtful to us. This is why the ending of the Lord's Prayer is especially powerful. Early Christians began the tradition of ending this prayer with a doxology, or a word of praise. They are saying that all of the world, the power, and the glory belong to God. Our all-powerful God is the one who will help us live out this prayer. the one who will help us overcome temptations and difficult times, the one who will empower us to bring His kingdom and His dream for this world. The Lord's Prayer ends with the word Amen. It's a way of saying, may it be so. When we say Amen, the person promises to make this a prayer a reality, not just giving it to God and walking away. Remember, God made us for relationships and for action. When we end our prayers with Amen, we commit to living out the Lord's Prayer, making God's kingdom a reality here and now.